Short weeks ago, Stephen Harper's Conservatives abolished the Canadian Wheat Board, a form of supply management wherein farmers had to sell all their wheat to the government and didn't get market prices. Well, guess what? The province of Quebec and the rest of the country is still dominated by other supply management. That's another way of saying government-controlled prices and supplies and demand. Joining me now from Quebec to talk about this is Mario Dumais. He's an economist, and interestingly, he's the former publisher with the UPA, the agricultural producers in that province. Hey, thanks for being here today, Mr. Dumais.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here with you.
Now, here's what's interesting. You tell me, I see in your new study, that not only does supply management or government quotas raise the price of foodstuffs, but it actually, in the end, doesn't help the producers themselves. Tell me your argument in a nutshell.
Well, it's because it costs them so much if they have to buy the quotas they need to produce, that this costs them all the excess of price that are charged for these products in Canada. For instance, if you want to produce the milk of one cow in Quebec, you have to buy a permit to do it, which costs you $25,000. The cow costs $2,000, but the permit costs $25,000 in Quebec. In Alberta and British Columbia, it's even worse. They have to pay $35,000 in Alberta and $40,000 in British Columbia to have the right to produce and market their milk.
That is bizarre. Now, I didn't know that. I mean, I always thought that the real losers were consumers, especially poor consumers. We have a graph showing how much more we pay for basic dairy items like butter and cream. Here's a chart showing butter, cheese, yogurt, chicken, and eggs. We pay 2 to 3 times more for these items than our American friends do because of this government-run quota system. But what you're saying is it actually doesn't even make sense for the producer. We've got a chart, and it's based on your study, showing how much producers make. Can we see that chart, please, Ricky? This is how much the price of milk is paid to producers. So you can see that a Canadian dairy farmer makes about twice as much as an American or even a European counterpart because of this quota system. But Professor Dumais, you're actually saying in the end, having to pay for the permits takes all the money out of it, so it's not even good for the farmer.
Yeah, that's right. And if we look at another case where it is still worse, this sector producing eggs, an average farm in Quebec, the quotas is worth $8.5 million in the egg sector.
That's the permits you're saying? You have to pay?
The permits.
So buying who gets all this money? When you buy a permit to have an egg farm or a dairy farm, you're paying 25 grand a cow, $8 million an egg farm. Who gets that dough?
Those who sell the quotas.
So it's other farmers. It's like a closed system. So if you're lucky enough to have a permit, you can sell it and make 10 times more for your permit than you could for your cow.
Exactly, exactly. So, and besides, we actually live in a world where the food needs all over the planet is growing at a very impressive rate, and we have a potential to supply part of this market because our climate is very good to produce milk here, but with our domestic price, which doesn't benefit to the farmers, we cannot be participant in this growing market. So it's very negative for the Canadian economy.
What a shame. You know, guys like you and me, if we pay an extra $1 or $2 for a liter of milk, it's probably not going to be that painful for guys like you and me. But for the working poor, for someone on a fixed income, a pension, a student, having to pay 2 or 3 times more for eggs and butter really is a hardship. Surely if we don't do it in the name of ideological freedom, surely we should get rid of these marketing boards just in the name of helping the poor, shouldn't we?
Yes, that's right. And if we want to make an assessment about how much it costs, the Organization for Economic Development, OECD, calculated that in Canada, buyers of the supply managed products pay each year $3.9 billion more then we would pay if our price would be aligned with the international price.
That works out to $400 a family if my math is right. That's a huge tax on food, a tax on the poor. Mario Dumais of the Montreal Economic Institute, thanks very much for bringing this shocking news. Stephen Harper took care of the wheat board. Hopefully he'll take care of these dairy boards too. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much to have invited me. It was a pleasure to talk with you.
Right on.